Continuous rain causing havoc around the country. Planning Minister committed to Manam Resettlement.
So we need to attend to that as soon as possible.
And more startling revelations on the NHC evictions in Leh.
This is the National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for Monday's news. By tonight, the nation's capital would have been experiencing 3 days of continuous rain. We have several reports tonight on the weather situation, including the Prime Minister's message on climate change at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. But first, 7 houses in Gerhu's Gaunagadi Street in Port Moresby have been affected by floods caused by continuous rain. Resident John Kerenga told MTV News poor drainage for the Gerhu to 9 Mile Road has resulted in flooding. The residents want responsible city authorities to reassess the drainage and put an end to the problem.
Since 2015, residents living near the Gerhu to 9 Mile Road are being affected by flooding every time it rains for more than 2 days. John Kerenga, a long-time resident who has been complaining of the drainage problem, says residents there have spent a fortune in cleaning up after heavy rains. He says millions have been paid to the contractor, but the work has been poorly done.
So amount of water that is coming in. That is why when I'm a backflow, I'm drawing over or something. Now this is the M31, number 31 flood inside this tripla here. 2015, 16, 17, and now 2018 and flood number 21, 31.
Some residents have fled their home after authorities took no action in building proper drainage to stop water from entering the residences. Even animals are being affected as water levels remain high. Residents told MTV News if the wet weather continues, another problem will be the sewage overflow. They say they have experienced backflowing in the homes.
For the last 6 weeks, all inhaling this like human feces here, this like bad smell also. Inhaling this like bad smell. I think scientifically also the containing sulfur gas. This sulfur gas is very dangerous for the heart and the liver.
When construction began in 2014, the road was elevated. However, residents believe the road was not engineered to avoid flooding. The residents also suggest the building of a stone wall as accidents have been constant with more than 5 deaths in the past 3 years.
So, outside engineer or surveyor or you come now working one and something lawyer, almost make him straight, but almost consult him, so Mibla must was Mibla satisfied now, all by working. So was Mibla no satisfied, and by Mibla fight law rights, Mibla contractors too, all by now can work in reconstruction later.
With monsoon rains expected over the next 2 weeks, flooding has been constant in and around the capital city. In some parts, almost half of the roads are flooded. Small potholes are also creating traffic hazards. Jack Lopave Jr., National MTV News.
Road access into the Bomana prison outside Port Moresby may be cut off if it continues to rain. As of 12 noon today, the nearby Bomana River overflowed, preventing small vehicles from accessing the prison facility.
The Bomana prison is situated near the Bomana River, which flows down from the Sogeri Mountains. The continuous downpour experienced in Port Moresby in the last 3 days has caused the Bomana River to burst its bank. The water level outside the Bomana prison continues to rise, posing a threat to flooding. But Jail Commander Kirikeko says while the rain may cut off access into the prison, it will not affect inmates at the main compound.
For us, from here down, it's going to make this an island. But it will be okay. The prisoners won't be affected because their dormitories are up high up. So it will create an island for a while. And when it subsides, then we'll come back to normal. But of course, if it continues that way, the accessibility will be a problem. We can't have vehicles going in there, running between the National Courthouse and the resident on this end, of course, around here.
In just 3 hours, the main entrance into the prison became flooded, forcing water to spill to the other side of the prison. Just meters beside the main compound, The water levels have risen to an estimated 5 meters. At the back of the prison, the water level has increased, covering an estimated 20 centimeters of the prison fence. A number of food gardens were also destroyed.
Go beyond this rise, so it will be the same or below. We'll just wait and see what happens in the next few hours as the weather pattern continues to run as it is.
As the rain continues to fall, correctional officers at Bomana are assessing the situation. Tekla National MTV News.
The newly planted crops at the National Agriculture Research Institute at Laloki have become submerged underwater. NARI's Research and Development Coordinator, Dr. Peter Gendua, says when the water subsides, the crops would have been damaged. But that is not the only concern. The irrigation water pump is about to be washed away.
The continuous rains has affected all institutions situated along the Laloki River. At the National Agriculture Research Institute, crops are planted on lowland for research purposes.
We get the water from the river, but it's close to the river bank and it's flooding and it's affecting our water pump. And also the water pushes back into our research fields and it's affecting most of our crops, especially corn and cassava and other crops that are usually grown in that dry lowlands.
However, during the wet season, these crops fell victims to the flood. This cornfield was planted in December 2017, but the recent rain has completely destroyed the crops.
We do multiplication of corn or pure seeds. We produce seeds for distribution throughout the country to interested farmers. And our fields we planted in December, and it's about 5 to 10 centimeters high, and it's under water now. And if it continues to rain for the next 1 or 2 days, and then all our fields will be underwater. And that will affect the growth, and it will, because it will take time to water to go down. And with the sun coming up and increasing the temperature, all our corn and other crops will die.
On the other side of the research center, cassava and pumpkins were also destroyed. And another asset is at the threat of being washed away, the irrigation water pump. Due to flooding over the years, much of the land on which the pump sits on has been washed away. Dr. Gendowan says they have plans to relocate the pump, but time is not on their hands.
With that flooding, and it's about to wash away the irrigation pump, and that's a disaster for us. So we will try to rescue it. But this is old, was put in the 1960s and 70s, and it's a very durable and very strong pump. So to move this one, it will take a lot of cost to move the pump.
Tekla Gunga, National MTV News.
The rains caused a slow morning for students resuming classes today. 2.1 million students are expected to return to schools across the country.
It's raining cats and dogs in the nation's capital on the first day of the 2018 academic year. Senior weather forecaster at the National Weather Service says the rain is expected to last till Friday.
Flooding and rain. Rain and more rainfalls and floodings and landslides. We will experience those.
But that did not stop some students who braved the weather to begin classes. Maranville Secondary All-Girls School were up and early for their first assembly.
Now, if you are here, you get in the classroom now, we will have a morning briefing.
Despite the rain, students were prepared with an umbrella at hand to defend themselves from the continued downpour. Meanwhile, MTV understands some schools will be collecting project fees despite warning from the Education Department banning collections of project fees. Under the TFF policy outlines, project fees can be collected if parents agree at a parents-teachers meeting, and the meeting minutes are submitted to the Education Department. Adelaide Terox Kari, National MTV News.
To West New Britain Province, people in Biala will not be able to access Kimbe for an indefinite period. Torrential rains over the last 48 hours caused flooding, resulting in 2 bridges being washed away. These images show the affected section of the Biala-Kimbe Highway, where crossing is now impossible. Authorities say flooding is also happening all around West New Britain province. To East New Britain, and continuous torrential rain in the province since last Friday has washed off a main section of road between Kokopo and Kerevat Township. The section of the road at Napapara number 5 was further narrowed following last night's heavy downpour. PMV owners and travelling public have raised concerns over the delay of work to fix the road. Gazelle MP Jelta Wong responded, stating a team of civil engineers from the Provincial Works Department will assess the damage and begin work. If it rains heavily tonight, the road would be completely cut off, forcing commuters to use alternative routes to travel into Kokopo and Rabaul towns. Other sections of the road between Vunadidir and Kerevat town are also falling apart, with no signs of repair work beginning anytime soon. The National Maritime Safety Authority strongly warns small boat operators, owners and passengers, specifically in the southern region, to reconsider any sea voyages during this recent severe weather conditions. Winds of up to 80 kilometers per hour and waves of up to 4 meters are expected in the coming days. The authority's General Manager, Paul Unas, issued this warning after the continuous heavy downpour and strong winds. Mr. Unas says small boat operators, owners and passengers must take extra precaution and may need to reconsider boat trips during this time. The 15 maritime provinces are strongly urged to ensure a high level of maritime safety is enforced at this time. National Planning and Monitoring Minister Richard Maru says they will be pushing for the Manam Resettlement exercise to resettle islanders. Maru says legislation was passed during the last sitting of Parliament to set up the Restoration Authority and to appoint a CEO. He said this has been left between the Madang and national governments. However, it has taken too long. Thus, it is about time the national government takes ownership of this issue. He adds that it would be unfair for the government to resettle Cordova Islanders in East Sepik, while Manam people have been living in care centres for over a decade.
Manam Restoration Authority getting the boat up and running and getting its staff so we can also attend to Manam at the same time. It'll be quite unfair, and it'll be wrong for us to only attend to the Sepik crisis. Manam has been here for over 10 years and we need to attend to that as soon as possible, and I can give my assurance that our government is committed and we will work through the minister to have the board established so we can then look at a long-term plan, like sort out surveying, cost out the road that needs to be built to where the new relocation site would be, and then fund it through the 2019 budget so we can help the Manam Islanders who are still in the care centers in Bogia to be relocated. But we will now have to take ownership at national government level and make it happen for our people. We can't keep leaving them in the care centers for over 10 years. That's not acceptable.
Meanwhile, speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said climate change is real and the effects are felt across the Pacific. In a panel discussion, Mr. O'Neill spoke about the long periods of drought and frost around the country during the El Nino in 2015 and 16. He said while some are debating whether it is real or not, the effects are being felt by small islands in the Pacific.
Long 8 months of drought without any drop of rain in my country. We're a small Pacific island nation right in the middle of the Pacific. So it affects quite a large number of communities where they live on famine, and as a result of no rain, there is nothing growing. And you have to slash budgets to try and feed your population. And it is an enormous challenge to many families. Fortunately, we were able to feed ourselves by direct government interventions into providing food supplies to families on a daily basis. But this is happening right across, not only in Papua New Guinea, but right across many African, Caribbean, and Pacific Island nations. To no fault of theirs, they are made to suffer with these extreme weather conditions that they are facing. High number of tropical storm that is now starting to happen on a frequent basis, getting stronger and more destructive, and many communities and families been misplaced. This is a serious issue while the rest of the world are continuously debating about whether climate change is real or not. It is certainly affecting smaller countries and communities. We have to realize that in our generation, there will be few countries who will no longer exist.
Here with National EMTV News. Among stories after the break, Scott Wider's investigative reporting on the illegal sale of National Housing Corporation properties continues. Stay with us for the details. Welcome back to National EMTV News. A Lay family have reported a case of alleged fraud to the police after their dead father's name was used in court documents in a move to have them evicted from their property. The family was surprised to find that the name of their father, who died in 2011, was on a statutory declaration form, complete with a forged signature. They are also in court over the matter. But instead of being complainants in the court case, they are defendants, with the alleged buyer laying the complaint with the supporting documents from the National Housing Corporation.
Daniel Marika and his family have been living in this house for more than 30 years. His father-in-law built it in the 1970s on land which has a state title. He died in 2011, leaving the house to Daniel's wife and her siblings. But last week they found out that their block and their house had been allegedly sold to a local businessman without the family's knowledge.
We've been residents here for almost 37 years now, about 40. Now we're not moving.
James Kinjin, the Law and Order chairman of Nawai Block, was called to resolve the matter. He noticed the irregularities in the documents and ordered the men who were measuring the block to stop.
They were about to be forcefully removed from the block, evicted. It was in the morning. Come inside and start to cut him on block while they were still residing on the block, without their knowledge. So time look him to me question him why. Now they talk me about buying penis. How much? 42,000. You give money outside.
Upon further investigation, they found that the youngest brother of the family, Alois Sakingwaga, had received a payment of 40,000 kina. It's understood he also signed a statutory declaration form that bears the name of his father who had died in 2011.
Sakingwaga, Papa died in 2011, December. Long December 8, come working declaration of court house 2017. People are looking more than money come working declaration of Salim block. When no true, Nami Plasayo true or some fraudulent act.
Only falsifying this local document, including one black policeman involved with this law.
According to the family, Alois, seen in this picture receiving the money, can't read or write, and he has since gone into hiding. The family believes that while he may have understood the transaction, he didn't understand the documents he was signing, including the hastily written sale agreement and the disputed statutory declaration bearing the name of his deceased father.
So power money, usad you spending money loan, you go back long usad, you give money loan.
The person who signed the sale agreement as a witness is this man, Michael Nakut, a community leader who came to the scene when we were interviewing the family. He admitted that the man who allegedly received the money for the sale can't read or write, but maintains this was not an eviction case.
Because long Papa died, please, I'm in place with Papa now, so I'm next of kin.
But name lo Papa staff and
name lo Papa staff maybe a illustrator, young man. That is why.
So it's basically taking advantage of one man who said illiterate na ilasan in Tagalog. When are you witnessing to?
You know, Sam. Signatories, yes. Because
the National Housing Corporation, according to documents, also claims ownership over the land. Contained in material presented to the court by the complainant and buyer is this tenancy agreement dated the 1st of December 2017. This agreement is stamped by the National Housing Corporation.
Also, it is the same signature of money signed on the block, state deck, happy on the block, Housing Corporation document as witness. Papa died, Pinise come up witness Kenlo, Housing Corporation documents.
Last week, a scheduled meeting with the National Housing Corporation was cancelled. Our subsequent requests for an interview sent by SMS were unsuccessful. This morning, I contacted the Managing Director for the National Housing Corporation, Kenneth Cook. I've also sent him these documents relating to this case. 6 other families have also been affected by similar evictions. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Lae.
And the family has also taken the alleged fake documents and filed a separate complaint with the police fraud squad in Lae. A separate letter of complaint has been given to the Metropolitan Superintendent, Anthony Wagambi. Another terrible traffic accident happened at 8 Mile on Friday afternoon, the 26th of January, at around 5 p.m. along the Lae-Nadzab highway. A truck full of workers from Honeybrook traveling to Lae collided with a loaded 25-seater PMV bus traveling from Lae to Nadzab. 42 were injured and 2 died. One of the deceased is a single mother employed at Honeybrook New Guinea Limited as building contracts administrator.
Dorothy Music Karam died in the early hours of Saturday, 27 January, at the age of 33, after this head-on collision on Friday at 8 Mile outside Lae town. She was employed by Honeybrook New Guinea as the building contracts administrator. She was going home from work on this Honeybrook pickup truck when it ran off the road and into the oncoming traffic.
Around 8 miles, Ponana kam na Honeybrook jam crossover lo upside lane blame kam lo mi plus so no choice am blocking all lane na mi plus head on tasol.
Dorothy joined the company in September 2017. She is 33 years old and mother to 7-year-old Joshua.
She's also a fighter. She just fights to the end. Yeah. But with all the struggles that she went through and like that, it gave the challenge now and just moved it to another level.
Joshua began his first day of school today, the day his mother would be so proud of.
She provides for his son, Joshua. Give him when I'm something this like him, give him. Time I'm no got long and I must run lol mama where I'm served by give him name by come. Time dodo am angere Joshua by hunger want mama blood. Dorothy is a tough lady, I can say. She provides for the son. When I'm hard time, I'm go through him. By me talk on him, she's a fighter and she's a survivor.
According to police reports, 42 people were injured, 2 are in critical condition and 2 have died. This is the second major accident in a space of the months. It follows another accident at Naswampum along the Lae-Nadzab highway 2 weeks ago, where 2 teachers and their children died along with 2 others. Julie Badui Owa, National MTV News, Lae.
The election petition seeking orders for a recount of the Hela governor seat will proceed to a full trial on the 20th of February. The application was filed by third runner-up Dr. Hewali Hamia against Hela Governor Philip Undialu and the Electoral Commission. The petitioner argued on the 3 grounds: 1, of errors and omissions and illegal practices by the second respondent in relation to extra ballot papers in excess of common roll figures; 2, errors and omissions by PNG Electoral Commission in not providing security to safeguard ballot boxes and papers; and 3, illegal marking of ballot papers and hijacking of ballot boxes. Justice Elenas Batari, after going through the petition, ordered that ground 1 be upheld on the issues of errors or omissions and dismissed on the pleading of illegal practices, ground 2 be upheld in part on the issue of the failure of polling officials to secure ballot papers for security, and that ground 3 be dismissed in its entirety and the trial be ordered on the surviving grounds and factual allegations. Dr. Hamia told MTV News Today that his case remains truly alive, contrary to a story aired yesterday which stated that it had been dismissed. Moving on, Transparency International PNG has announced its focus areas for 2018. TI PNG Chairman Lawrence Stevens made the announcement today to coincide with the organization's 21st anniversary. Staff of Transparency International PNG today celebrated the 21st anniversary of the organization's establishment here in the country. TI PNG Chairman Lawrence Stevens used the opportunity to thank its founders as well as current individual members and corporate bodies who continue to support the work of TI PNG in these challenging times.
Today we celebrate our members, both corporate and individuals who support our cause. We celebrate our stakeholders, the institutions, donor agencies and in-kind supporters who are a positive force of energy driven by the same idea.
Whilst there had been progress made in the fight against corruption over the years, Mr. Stevens acknowledged that there was still more to be done. To coincide with its anniversary, TIPNG also launched their 3 key campaigns. The first, advocating for the enabling legislation for the Independent Commission Against Corruption.
The ICAC is necessary for compliance with the government's commitment to the UN Convention Against Corruption, our own national anti-corruption strategy. It's an important part, we see, of the future of Papua New Guinea. Strong institutions which can fight against corruption in the country.
Secondly, advocating for funding for the NID project to cease until a full audit report is made public, and for the Director of the National Statistical Office to step down pending investigations.
2% of the national population, 200 million kina spent. There have been allegations of mismanagement by the Director of the National Statistics Office. Syndicates within the Civil Registry have been selling NIDs. And the current Minister for National Planning has said no reports on how the funds have been spent have been presented to Parliament.
The third focus for TIPNG will be to advocate for enabling legislation to allow citizens access to information in accordance with Section 51 of the National Constitution.
TIPNG will be advocating for the drafting of enabling legislation to allow citizens access to information, a right which is provided for in Section 51 of the National Constitution.
Papua New Guinea made a commitment to sign up to the Open Government Partnership, and that came with us putting together an action plan, national action plan. As a country, we decided, we identified 4 major commitments that we would make under the Open Government Partnership, one of which was the access to information legislation, and that is something that TIPNG will be pushing for under the Open Government Partnership National Action Plan.
According to Mr. Stevens, these 3 focus areas are key in the fight against corruption, and TIPNG is pushing to have its voice be heard through consultation with relevant stakeholders.
More consultation be held, that more opportunity be given to people around the country to understand the implications of the legislation being drawn up and presented to Parliament.
But in terms of all our campaigns and all our work, it's also available on our website, so people can check our website for more information on the work of the organization.
Here with National MTV News, Pomio in East New Britain said to be the next major tourist destination, and Planning Minister inspects damaged bridge in Madang. We'll have the details when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Pomio district in East New Britain province could be the next major tourism destination in the country. From giant waterfalls to endless white beaches, the district has all it needs to deliver a memorable experience for visiting tourists. Pomio MP Elias Kapavore recently led a delegation from the Tourism Promotion Authority to see some of the district's never-before-seen beauty.
From cascading waterfalls and river systems with abundant wildlife to endless sandy white beaches that stretch for miles, Pomio is indeed one of the best tourism attractions in Papua New Guinea. A team from the PNG Tourism Promotion Authority, led by local MP Elias Kapavore, visited some of these attractions last week, where he revealed his vision to explore and develop the district's untapped tourism potential.
In the past, we were not doing things properly, but now the government is now focused on promoting tourism in our country. That is the way forward for us in Pomio.
The MP says with the national government focused on developing tourism, his district administration has taken the initiative to deal directly with the National Tourism Office in marketing the district. He also revealed some sites like the Blue Hole Dive, which he believes can attract tourists from all over the world.
I'm here to actually showcase one of our products, many products, but I'm here to also now showcase the blue old dive, and I'm privileged that we will be working with the tourist TPA this year and the years to come to actually develop this potential to be one of the best places that many of our tourist people will come, both within the country and overseas as well.
Meanwhile, TPA has donated a computer and a camera to assist in tourism works in the district. TPA has also announced it stands ready to partner provinces and districts that are willing to develop tourism. So far, East New Britain has grown to be one of the country's top tourist destinations, with Pomio now a district to attract more tourists. Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
Locals along the coast of Tewai will be given access to health care for the next 2 weeks thanks to the YWAM medical ship. Member for Tewai Dr. Kobe Bomario launched the ship today, saying it was a great relief for healthcare problems in the district. The ship will be providing dental and eye care, amongst other services, to villages along the coast.
It takes a 30-minute chopper ride to get to Kanzaroa Sialong in Tewai Siasi. It is one of Morabe's coastal districts and is where the YWAM medical ship will be for the next 2 weeks. This morning, member for Tewai Siasi Dr. Kobe Bomario travelled to the site to launch the ship's service. He was accompanied by Minyamya member Thomas Pelika. Dr. Bomario said given the district's current problems with healthcare, this service brings relief for the locals in the district.
But it's something where process government and go sort the supply problems, factors or some logistical or funding, manpower, and all can be plus support of the people relief. This ship is in fact a hospital.
The ship has a dental clinic and an optometry team who will be conducting eye surgeries.
We have a number of teams. We have a maternal and child health team that will be focused on immunisation, family planning and antenatal checks.
The team's communication manager Anna Scott says they're expecting to treat a lot of patients.
We'll be travelling out throughout the TYCRC district, working in many villages, both along the coast and doing helicopter patrols inland as well.
The service is being delivered in partnership with the Provincial Health Department.
Yeah, provincial government was committed about $500,000. Now I believe from time to time provincial government will still support.
Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
It's back to school time, and for a small community outside Mount Hagen City, a back to school program was held to support its school children. The Kentika tribe in Hagen Central Electorate held this program to give generously to the school and to use the opportunity to give some advice to their youth. This year is the second year the community is hosting such an event.
The Kentika community held a devotion program yesterday and gave money towards supporting tertiary students in their community. The community has more than 20 students attending colleges and universities, both in the country and abroad. Community leaders and dignitaries also attended the program and gave strong words of advice to their children to make use of this opportunity and excel in life.
Your papa and mama, you number one school teacher belong beginning. You go selling boy long boy market. You line beginning finish long selling boy. You papa or mama, you raise him or you grow in marijuana. You school finish beginning below you come up marijuana beginning.
The community formed a committee called Kentika Human Resource Development. As the name says, for 2 years the committee has been making awareness and raising funds to support their children. Committee Chairman Jerry Wantaki started this development program so that it could help parents pay their children's school fees. Wantaki says PNG is currently going through an economic crisis and the subsistence parents cannot afford to pay their children's tertiary level school fees. An initiative like this one will help parents as well as boost the morale of the students to study hard and complete a degree program so that they can bring services back to the community.
Ground here, MSAWE, stop also met. Population name grow. So population name grow, go bibla. That's all ground here, same ground name stop long and stop. One man name carry 2 3 beginning man. No got ground long. After 10 to 20 years, bus not walk about the neck, and back cut off, leg back cut off, eye back come out. So Lorausi Molisla can all even problems. Okay, the yet mas one bell only man. Bung imbel na ting ting one time. Na try mo pudi mo ka beginning go inside law school.
Kentika community leaders urged parents to teach their children to be well-disciplined and self-reliant. This human resource development program will continue to ensure the Kentika community must have an educated population in 5 to 10 years' time. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
The opening of a bypass road for the travelling public in Madang will cost the national government 5 million kina. National Planning and Monitoring Minister Richard Maru says the 10-kilometre road will help with costs commuters are paying to transport their goods. Minister Maru was in the area on Friday to inspect the bridge and see firsthand the impact the collapsed Banab Bridge had on commuters in Madang.
I've already requested them to bring the coming week.
Minister Maru says the National Works Department has estimated that it will cost the national government 50 million kina to construct a permanent bridge. He says the collapse of the Bana Bridge earlier this month has created two issues for both the provincial and national government to look into. The provincial government will need to open a temporary bypass whilst waiting for the reconstruction of a permanent bridge. Minister Maru says the new bridge will take 12 months to build.
Where the bypass would be, I went and had a look at it on Friday. I've had a look at the report from the Department of Works. It will cost us 5 million kina to have that road opened up and a proper road be built, so the trucks that normally would come across the bridge would come on the temporary bypass. That requires 5 million. It'll take another 12 months to look at a permanent bridge over the current bridge location. That, I think, Works is now finishing of design and costing for that.
He has already advised the Works Department to bring a report to the Cabinet through the Works Minister. This, he says, is for the Cabinet to take some action on the temporary bypass and also come up with a long-term solution for the bridge.
All I can say is we are extremely committed to help the crisis as far as our people are concerned. I've been there myself. Trucks are stopping on the other side, as you know, and of course trucks are stopping on the side. It's a real hassle. The youths have also taken advantage of the situation by charging people who are accessing the temporary bypass location and even people crossing over the bamboo bridge. It could be a potential law and order situation. I'm told there's been some law and order incidents in the area already, and I think the government needs to act quickly. We are committed. We are just now going to wait on the Department of Works and the Minister for Works to bring together a report to Cabinet.
The 10-kilometre bypass road starts from Banab and will go through to Wasap Junction before going out to Matugar. The opening of the bypass route will help serve the people of Bogia, Sumkar, Middle Ramu and East and West Sepik provinces. Meanwhile, former Ward President John Sekam says villages situated on both ends of the bridge sees these as an opportunity for the government to bring in services. Sekam said his people have been crying for a road, and this now paves way for them to get the national government's attention.
Because something provincial government and national government been lulu lor community this la have long time to mass so time broccoli looking more some good sans the government can help him the building road block come inside so want to this la thinking only in big plus strong plus thinking blow loss road mass almost alright in government looking road come inside.
Masa Luis, National EMTV News, Madang.
Here with National EMTV News, we go for a break, and when we come back, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with football. Toti City Dwellers remain undefeated on the National Soccer League table after demolishing Madang FC 7-2 in round 3 of the competition on the weekend. Dwellers skipper Raymond Gunemba scored a hat-trick with fellow striker Nigel Dabinaba grabbing a double in the opening fixture of the late doubleheader. Morabe Wawens edged out fellow Morabians, Buang FC 2-1. Meanwhile, the Port Moresby fixture between Southern Strikers and Best PNG United was called off due to wet weather. The match will now be played as a washout match at a later date. To Rugby League, the SPPNG Hunters will be eyeing back-to-back titles this year in the Queensland Intra-Super Cup competition. This will be the 6th year the Hunters take part in the ISC.
30 new faces have been named in this year's 29-member team. After winning their first title in 2017, the Hunters have set their sights on a repeat performance this year. Though they have a bulk of new players, their upcoming trial match against the Brisbane Broncos on the 24th of February will give them a fair idea of the level of competition they will be in. Arsene Watson-Boas are among the returning players who also featured in the PNG Kumul's run to the Rugby League World Cup quarterfinals, while former skipper Israel Eliab and Blenda Bavu did not report for pre-season training and are understood to be pursuing other options. Preparations leading up to the Broncos clash is paramount at the moment, as they will be bringing their A-grade team to take on the Hunters. The Queensland Intra-Super Cup season kicks off in early March with the Hunters to face Ipswich Jets in their first match. The first few weeks of the Q Cup will be difficult for the Hunters, with many teams targeting the premiers, hoping to cause an upset. Elijah Lovett, National EMTV Sports.
Still in Rugby League, after supporting the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup for a few years, Lay Biscuit Company is again back as a minor sponsor, while its sister company, Prima Small Goods, has come on board as major sponsor. The sponsorship will go towards supporting match referees for the 2018 season. Ipatas Cup CEO Timothy Lepa was grateful to the sponsors for their support through the years, support which has helped to change the lives of young rugby league players in Papua New Guinea.
A sponsorship of 33,000 kina will go into supporting the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup officials for its 2018 season. Ipatas Cup CEO Timothy Lepa says since the establishment of the competition in 2000, this year will mark its 18th year and many new rugby league talents have been produced.
Prima is the official sponsor of our referees last year, this year, and also Lay Biscuit. They were our official sponsor for the last many years, and they withdrew about 3 or 4 years, and then they returned to support us. With referees, as I mentioned, with referees, there is game. No referee, no game. That was the tag that we carried through for our competition for the last many years.
Prima Small Goods, we share with Sir Peter and Timothy their vision for bringing the game to the grassroots. As Timothy has said, there are challenges in all the regions of Papua New Guinea, so that's bringing sponsorship money and the game and trying to promote rugby league, not just at the elite level but at the local level. So that is one of the main points that our company, Prima Small Goods, and our sister company, Lay Biscuit, that's why we like to support this competition.
He says while the Code of Rugby League is the national sport of the country, proper governance and game structure is to be followed by officials without any problems and without fear or favour.
The game must have proper governance and infrastructure to support rugby league long term, and for that we need our officials and referees and all the other game officials. So it's with great pleasure that Prima Small Goods decided to have this sponsorship agreement of 30,000 kina.
33,000.
Yeah, to particularly for the referees, because we want to show the referees, to show the officials that Prima Small Goods and Lay Biscuit, we want to give them that support so that on the field they can feel that they can make their decisions and conduct their game without any fear or favour, and just do their job professionally.
Also supporting the competition in the country and sponsoring the officials with 10,000 kina was JLW Construction.
As a little company that we can, whatever we can to sponsor, because it's a good cause for the country and for especially our people at the community level. There's also, whatever we can do, at least they engage in sports and something meaningful, and we'll all see for the good of the country. Times are tough, but we saw that it's a good cause that we need to invest and see the season goes ahead. And I believe that it's a good cause, and if the corporate companies are there or small companies, it's a good cause that we all can invest to for the country and for our people.
Ipata's Cup competition is expected to have more than 100 teams participate this year. Godwin Eki, National, EMTV Sports.
Don't go away, we'll have more of Trukai Sports after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. After the success of the 2017 Rugby League World Cup, which saw matches played in New Zealand, Australia and here in PNG, it seems the games are not quite over. Rugby League International Federation, the international body representing the Rugby League World Cup, is taking IMG Media, the media company who acquired the broadcast rights to the 2017 World Cup, to court for $750,000 in unpaid fees.
IMG Media signed a contract back in 2011 which provided them broadcasting and distribution rights to the 2013 and the 2017 Rugby League World Cup. IMG claims this was on the understanding that the games would only be played in Australia. The sky-high price tag is now in question as broadcasting from a venue such as PNG comes at a very high production cost, and IMG are refusing to pay. IMG claimed that the additional cost amounted to approximately $750,000. This matter is due for deliberation in the Sydney Supreme Court this Friday. Dinarose Raiko, National, EMTV Sports.
And that's a wrap of Trukai Sports. Up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
A look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In the southern region, Port Moresby, Daru, Kerama, Alotau and Popondetta can expect continuous rain over the next 24 hours. To the Momase region, rain expected in Lae, heavy rain in Wau, showers in Madang, Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, showers expected in Lorengau and Kavieng, rain and showers as well for Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundia, Mendi and Wabeg, all these major centers can expect rain over the next 24 hours.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Monday, January the 29th, 2018. On behalf of the EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.